And dear trainees, I hope that by this time you must have got the fair idea about the functioning of the thermal power plant, some mechanical equipments, especially about boiler. You must have got the understanding. I also expect that the materials which has been given to you, you must be going through it. If any doubt, feel free to ask. So now today we will discuss about air preheater, why it is important, its role, its construction detail. So to start with the basic definition of the air heater is basically it is a boiler accessory. You can say it is short of heat exchanger, and it is a heat exchanger, and it is used to preheat the primary air and secondary air which is being supplied in the furnace for combustion. Primary air is used, as you are aware, we had already discussed about this. So primary air is basically air which is used to carry the coal to the furnace, pulverized coal to the furnace, and secondary air is basically combustion air. So air preheater is used to preheat this primary air and secondary air, and basically its location is between economizer and chimney. It is also used to, or that heating of primary air or secondary air is basically that heat is recovered from boiler flue gas, as a result of which we get the increased thermal efficiency and reduced temperature of flue gas, which is being exhausted into the atmosphere through stack. Because of we are supplying the heated combustion air in the furnace, due to which the combustion efficiency also increases. Now you can see that from this figure that ambient air is taken from the fan. So there are basically we are showing only one fan, but it is basically primary air fan and secondary air fan. So this air through primary air and secondary air fan goes through air preheater for preheating before sending it to furnace, that is secondary air, or sending it to the coal mill to carry the pulverized coal to the furnace. So this is our air preheater. I will just increase the thickness of the marker so that it will be more clear. So the air through this air preheater goes to furnace, and the heating media in air preheater is basically the flue gas which is coming out from the furnace. This is flue gas. So air preheater is also a type of heat exchanger. That is, you can say, counter flow heat exchanger. So the cold incoming air, when passes through air preheater, it absorbs the heat which is being carried by the flue gas and get heated. This schematic actually elaborates the motion or the path of the flue gas. Here you can see after combustion, here the temperature will be somewhere 1500 to 1700 degrees centigrade. So this flue gas will carry this heat and it will pass through the superheaters, then reheaters, LTSH, then economizer, and finally at 300 to 400 degrees centigrade it will leave the furnace And if suppose there is no air preheater in the system, so what we were supposed to do? We have exhausted this directly to the atmosphere. You just remove it, so it will directly go to ESP, and then through chimney you might have exhausted it. So ultimately what happens, because of this we can trap this temperature of flue gas in air preheater, and we will heat this air, and the temperature of exhaust gas get reduced somewhere in between 120 degrees centigrade to 150 degrees centigrade. Now question arises, why we are not recovering more heat to reduce this temperature below 120 to 150 degrees centigrade? So there is some metallurgical constraints, because this stack, the outer shell what we are seeing, that is a supportive shell made up of concrete, but inside material is a carbon steel. So you know that coal basically also contains sulfur. So this sulfur creates sulfur dioxide, and when the sulfur dioxide absorbs moisture, that gets converted into sulfuric acid. So if cooling this flue gas lesser than 120 degrees centigrade, so chances of formation of sulfuric acid will be there, because sulfuric acid is having its dew point temperature near about 115 degrees centigrade. So always we have to keep the temperature of flue gas more than this dew point temperature of sulfuric acid. Otherwise, this will create a cold end corrosion, and this may corrode the inner lining of the stack, which is made up of carbon steel. It is the reason that the temperature of flue gas which is passing through the stack to the atmosphere is kept above the dew point temperature of sulfuric acid, that is more than 115 degrees centigrade. So generally it is kept between 120 to 150 degrees centigrade to avoid this cold end corrosion because of sulfuric acid. Now in this slide we will see the various boiler auxiliaries. So the numbers are given. So the first one is coal bunker, this one. So as we discussed in earlier class, so through raw coal bunker, and this is feeder through which coal is fed or it is fed to the mill. Here in mill, coal get pulverized. To carry this coal up to the furnace, we require primary air, and which is supplied with the help of primary air fan, and which is shown here by number 4. This is primary air fan, PA fan. So you can see from that PA fan, which takes air from the atmosphere through air preheater, this is APH. You can see here, this is 5th number is APH. So through APH, you can see it is going like this to the mill, from where this pulverized coal is carried, or it is mixed with the primary air. Generally its temperature is kept at near about 80 degrees centigrade. It is not kept more than 80 degrees centigrade, otherwise there will be chances of sudden combustion of coal during transportation itself. Why we are heating this primary air? Because when coal gets pulverized, its chances of absorbing moisture will be more. So suppose we are sending the normal air, so normal air may carry the moisture, which can make lumps of the coal, and finally it can choke the coal supply line. Now here you can see this sixth number shows this is burner. This is our burner. Just a minute. This sixth number is our burner. This one, where coal gets combusted, supplied by the primary air, and for combustion we have to supply the secondary air, which is being supplied by this is our FD fan, that is forced draft fan, which supplies the secondary air. So this secondary air also passes through the air preheater, and through wind box it is being supplied in the furnace. So the mixture of primary air with the coal get introduced in the furnace. Primary air also supplies the initial oxygen for combustion, and secondary air is used to sustain the combustion. It is one more description of primary and secondary air system in the boiler, where you can see that PA fan basically sends the air, primary air. There are two parts, one heated primary air and one is cold primary air. So they are being tempered, and finally the air temperature is maintained at 80 degrees centigrade and sent to the pulverizer. Similarly, here you can see that secondary air through FD fan passing through air preheater, finally it is sent back, it is sent or it is introduced into the furnace through wind box for the combustion of fuel. Here you can see that we are using here two different type of air preheaters are used. One dedicated for heating of primary air, and second is dedicated for the secondary air heating. So basically there are two types of air preheaters which we are using in thermal power plant. That is, one is bisector and one is trisector type of air preheater. So bisector and trisector type of air preheaters. So details we will see at later stage. So just a basic construction, how that bisector and trisector is there. In trisector, it is construction of trisector air preheater. There will be a single air preheater where there will be one segment for flue gas. So it is in and flue gas out. So there are three sections, 1, 2, 3. So the third one is for the flue gas. This is for the secondary air, and this is for the primary air. So this is trisector. Arrangement. Where in same housing there will be three parts, one for the flue gas, one for primary air, one for secondary air. In bisector arrangement, it is like this. So there will be dedicated air filter for primary air and one for secondary air. So this is two sections, 1, 2. So this is flue gas in, flue gas out, primary air in, primary air out. These details we will see at later stage. Similarly, there will be a dedicated air filter for secondary air, where the path will be same like for flue gas, and instead of this primary air, here there will be secondary air which will be supplied by the FD fan. Here you can see this is secondary air preheater, this is primary air preheater. So like this. So there are basically two types, one is bisector and one is trisector, and I hope that by this illustration you must have got a fair idea the difference between the bisector and trisector type of air preheaters. So after the preamble, where we had seen in brief about the air preheater, why air preheater is required, the benefit of preheating the air. Now we will start the fundamentals of air preheater. So as discussed earlier, the higher the exit flue gas temperature, the higher will be the boiler heat loss, efficiency loss. Therefore, air preheater is to recover the sensible heat. So here one thing you have to remember, that air preheater only sensibly heat the air, because there won't be any phase change. Air always remains in single phase, so heating will be sensible heating from the boiler flue gas exiting the economizer, which increases the thermal efficiency of the boiler by reducing the useful heat lost in the flue gas. Here you can see that heating combustion air can rise boiler efficiency about 1% for every 20 degrees centigrade in temperature increase of combustion air. It means with every 20 degrees centigrade increase in temperature of combustion air, there will be 1% increment in the efficiency of boiler. These details roughly we had seen earlier. So it is a heat exchanger where air is sensibly heated. There are two paths. Hot flue gas goes in this direction and cold air through, either it may be the primary air or secondary air, it passes through it. During this process, this flue gas loses its heat to the incoming air and the incoming air gets heated. So it is a sort of counterflow heat exchanger. So again, just recall the advantages of preheating. So first thing is, it improves the ignition of the fuel. Even the inferior quality of fuel can be easily burned. Second, it improves the combustion efficiency. We already discussed this thing. And this dries the pulverized coal in pulverizer, as generally the temperature of primary air is kept as 80 degrees centigrade. So this heated air take out the moisture, if any, present in the pulverized coal. Now here we will see the types of air preheater. So depending upon its operating principle, it is broadly classified into two parts. One is recuperative type of air preheater, and second one is the regenerative type of air preheaters. Here itself, I would like to tell you that in general, in most modern power plants, we are using a regenerative type of heaters, and that too the Langstroth or that is Howden type of air preheater. Recuperative air preheaters are of two types. One is tubular type of air preheater, and second one is plate type of air preheater. Regenerative, there are two classifications. Broadly, it is Langstroth that is used, and second one is the Davidson or Rothmühle air preheater. So, in by large, the air preheater which is used in power plants are regenerative type of air preheater, and that is Langstroth air preheater. So, recuperative air heaters are basically tubular air heaters. It is with special purpose counterflow energy recovery heat exchanger, where both the fluid, that is heating fluid and cold fluid, to be heated flows simultaneously and in general in counterflow direction. So here you can see that in tube this air, which is cold air, passes through, and in cross direction you can see that flue gas is coming. So both are separated, there is no chance of intermixing, and this air which is passing through this tube absorbs the heat of the flue gas, and both fluids are simultaneously flowing. So there is no intermittency in flow. The reverse of that can also takes place. In tubes, the flue gas may flow, and outside there will be flow of air heaters. Air, not air heater. It can be assumed like the car radiator, where the coolant flows through inside the tubes, and it is being cooled by the air across which it comes. That is the cross flow type of heat exchange. The operating principle of recuperative air preheater, that it transfers heat in cross flow direction through the separating partition of either plates or tubes, with the cold side continuously recuperating, means absorbing. The meaning of recuperation is means absorbing the heat conducted from the hot side. So here you can see the both streams are separated by a tube or plate, and the air or the cold media is continuously absorbing the heat of the heating fluid. As both the fluids, hot and cold fluid, are separated by a boundary, so there are very less chance of mixing of air and flue gas. So air is here the cold fluid and flue gas is the hot fluid. So there is less chance of mixing or contamination of primary air or secondary air, except the case if some leakage occurs in the tubes. So that you can see. So this is the important thing, that it absorbs heat continuously. The tubular air preheaters are stationary in nature, so they are having some advantages, as less maintenance is involved, as no very complicated system is here, and it requires nil auxiliary power consumption. It requires nil auxiliary power because there is no moving part in it. And second very important thing is that there is no possibility of fly ash carryover by the heated primary air or secondary air, and thus it reduces chance of mill erosion. And contamination of the combustion air. So I think that this is clear to you because there is no direct contact between the air and flue gas. So there will be nil chance of contamination except the case if there is a tube leakage, and this primary air which will absorb heat of the flue gas will not be contaminated with the ash, hence chances of mill erosion will be nil. Now we will see the disadvantages of tubular air preheater. So it occupies more surface area. If any puncture occurs in the tube, then it results in the leakage of air into the flue gas stream, thereby increasing the ID fan load. Because ID fan is supposed to handle only flue gas, so once there will be short circuiting or leakage of air into the flue gas, so the volume of gas will increase and ultimately it will put load on the ID fan. The pressure drop of flue gas across the air preheater is high. Deposits on the tube surface reduces the heat transfer. It means because of the fouling of the tubes, the heat transfer will get reduced. Ultimately, that will reduce the efficiency of air preheating. This is also severely affected by the cold end corrosion, and replacement of punctured tubes is a major task requiring more downtime of the boiler. Now we will see the operating principle of regenerative type of air preheater, which is broadly used in or largely used in the modern thermal power plants. Regenerative heat exchanger is basically a regenerator where heat from hot fluid is intermittently stored in a thermal storage media before it is transferred to the cold fluid. So first thing that has to be remembered, that is it is having intermittent operation. That is just reverse of the recuperative system where both the fluids simultaneously flows. So here first the heat of hot fluid is transferred to the some thermal storage medium, and when that thermal storage medium comes across the cold fluid, it transfers its heat to the cold fluid. So it is a intermittent sort of operation where hot and cold fluid does not come directly in contact. They are coming in contact through some storage media. You try to understand this principle by a simple example. One thing is that you are directly heating the water. You are taking water in a pan, putting it on the stove, and it is directly heated. Second thing is that you take some pebbles or stones, you heat it, and then you drop or put that heated stone in water. So in that case also the water will get heat, but the principle is different. In first case, water is getting heat directly from the source, heat source. In second case, heat source is transferring it heat first to the stone Stone is here thermal storage. It absorbs that heat, and once it is brought in contact with the water, it releases its heat to the water and water gets heated. That's why regenerative type of air preheater is also called as indirect type of air preheater. Then it contains intermediate heat storage medium. So this cold surface or that storage medium, when comes in contact with the heater surface, it gets heated, and this heated surface, when brought in contact with the cold air, it gives it heat to the cold air. So this is the intermittent operation and indirect type of heating, where this hot flue gas is not directly transferring its heat to the cold fluid, but it is through some intermediate storage media. So here you can see this is storage media, this rotating cylinder which rotates at very slow RPM, and this is packed with this type of heat absorbing material. Just like you can imagine that fins which are in car radiator. So this is fully packed, which increases its surface area, and ultimately that increases the heat absorbing capacity. So the rotating cylinder packed with thousands of square meter of specially formed sheets of heat transfer surface. As it revolves, when it rotates, here you can see it rotates like this. So during its revolution, heat of flue gas is absorbed through one half. So suppose this is flue gas path. Flue gas is going through this. So once this segment comes in contact with this flue gas, it will absorb the heat of the flue gas. And after rotation, when it moves and come to this side, through which primary air oblique secondary air, anyone, if it is a bisector, either primary air or secondary air will pass. If it is trisector, so there will be two segment, one for PA and second one for secondary air. So this element, after absorbing heat of flue gas, when it comes to this side, it come across the cold air, and this cold air absorbs this heat from this storage medium. So the accumulated heat is released to the incoming air as the same surface passes through other half. So this is the same surface. After absorbing heat, it passes through this area and in turn transfer its heat to cold air. The heat transfer cycle is continuous as the surface are alternatively exposed to the outgoing gas and incoming air. As in modern power plants, the Langstroth air preheaters are used, so our discussion will be mainly focused over this type of air preheater. It is placed vertically in the second pass of the flue gas path, that is in convective pass. When the flue gas from radiant zone passes through convective zone, transferring its heat to the LTSH economizer, and then when it leaves the economizer, so there this air preheater is placed between economizer and the chimney. It consists of casing dividing into two flow paths if it is a bisector, or three flow paths if it is a trisector. Already we had discussed earlier. The flow paths are composed of heating elements, and generally the rotation speed is very slow, so that it gives the time for heat transfer. Passes through the gas stream absorbing heat, then through a sealed sector to the air stream where heat is given up, and again returns through another sealed sector to the gas stream for absorbing the heat. Means this process is going on in half rotation. That heat absorbing media comes across the hot fluid, that is flue gas. It absorbs, then it rotates and goes to the second pass where the cold air is coming. This storage media loses its heat to the cold air. Cold air gets heated. Again, this storage media, thermal storage media, gets cooled, come again to the first sector, and where it again comes in contact with the hot flue gas. It absorbs heat, and the same process gets repeated. And in this way, the heat transfer from flue gas to the cold air takes place. This is a construction of trisector type of air preheater. So this is hot flue gas is coming in that half segment, that is like this. The other half, if we divide this, so this other half, this portion is for hot flue gas, and this second pass is divided into two parts. One is for primary air and another is for secondary air. So this is a trisector type of air preheater. The section of primary air is smaller in comparison with the section for the secondary air, because the amount of secondary air requirement is more in comparison with the primary air. And trisector air preheater, both primary air and secondary air is handled in one air preheater, while in bisector type of air preheater there will be separate air preheaters for heating primary air and secondary air. 500 megawatt and above rating boilers has usually they got bisector type of air preheaters used to independently heat the primary and secondary air. So there are total 4 air preheaters, 2 air preheaters for primary and 2 for the secondary air preheating. Already we discussed that the size of the secondary air preheater will be definitely larger in comparison with the primary air preheater, because the total requirement of the secondary air is much more in comparison with the primary air. Primary air is just utilized or used for handling the pulverized coal, or it is a carrier to send the pulverized coal to the mill, to the furnace from mill. So in bisector type of air preheater, we are having greater flexibility for controlling the temperature of primary air and secondary air, because those both temperatures can be independently handled. So this is a picture of that is bisector type of air preheater. This is bisector APH. So you can see there is only two segments, one for hot flue gas, one for either primary or secondary air. So from this figure, what we discussed earlier, you can see that the inlet temperature of the flue gas to the air preheater is somewhere in the range of 300 to 400 degrees centigrade, and the exit temperature is between 120 to 150 degrees centigrade. The same thing we will see with in the figure of air preheater. Next slide. So here you can see the atmospheric air at a temperature of 30 degrees centigrade is introduced in this air preheater, and the flue gas at a temperature of 350 degrees centigrade, as we had seen earlier, comes across this segment where this storage medium absorbs this heat, and this flue gas loses its heat to this storage media, and cold or comparatively cooler flue gas comes out from this air preheater, and finally through ESP it is being sent to the chimney and to the atmosphere. And during this process of heating, that air, basically we are discussing here with the secondary air, it gets heated up to 300 degrees centigrade. This is also one of the picture that is depicting the functioning of the air preheater. The tri-sector type of air preheaters. One more thing which I would like to add here, that is generally this tri-sector type of air preheaters, which we had discussed earlier, is used in low rating boilers, that is of rating 250 megawatt and below. Contrary to the bisector type of air preheaters, where there were total 4 air preheaters, 2 for the primary air and 2 for the secondary air. Here in totality, there will be 2 air preheaters, one, and each air preheater handles both primary and secondary air. It also provides some means for heating primary air at high pressure and secondary air at low pressure within the same air preheater without mixing.